right, here we go. So I have to try and make these things shorter. So I heard the Lord, Father, I heard I heard the Lord saying, the way of spirit. Father, just pray that you'll have your way. You are the voice, I'm just a mic. So I woke up and I heard the Lord saying, the way of spirit. I heard him saying, the way of spirit. And I heard him saying, when you're lost, you want to be found. To be lost is not a good feeling. To be lost is not knowing the direction that you're headed in. To be lost is in an unfamiliar place. It's you have no comfort there. You've got no provision there. You've got no light there. Sometimes you got no company there. To be lost is not a good place. But I heard the Lord saying that when you're lost, you can be found. And I heard him saying, even now, that when you think that you're not lost, sometimes people think that they're not lost, but they are lost. And I heard him saying that when the disciples asked for the way he was going, because he said, where I am, there you may be also. And Thomas, I think it was, he asked and he said, well, how can we know where you're going if we don't, how can we come where you are if we don't know where you're going? Or how can we know where you're going if we don't know where you are, where you're going? And Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. So when he announced himself as the I am, he announced himself as God. When he announced himself and he said, I am the way. You could stop right there and hold on to that. I am the way. The way. When you're in the way, we're not saying like you're in the way of somebody, but you're in the way. You're on the path. When you're on the path that the Lord is walking on, he says that narrow and straight is the way that leads to heaven. The Bible tells us that narrow and straight is the way that, straight and narrow and straight, is the way that leads to heaven. If you there be that, find it. Narrow and straight. The ways of the Lord are higher than us. His plans are higher than ours. The Bible tells us that few are on this narrow way or path. Few are on it. Why few? Because we are in a physical world and we have a physical body. We have a physical body that wants to engage with the physical world. It's human nature. The Bible tells us to put to death the sinful nature, because the sinful nature is going to lead us where? To hell. The Bible also tells us that the flesh leads to death, but the spirit leads to life. All right. The Bible also tells us that God is a spirit. In him is light. So if you have something, let's say if you have a torchlight, and you turn it on, you got light, because that thing has the ability to shine light. So let's look at God as God. Okay, let's look at God as God. Let's look at him as, I don't want to say a torchlight, but let's look at him like, what can I call it? I don't know what to call it. I want to say fire, but that's too, it's already outside. I want something that's inside, something that's holding it. God is a light. He's a light. The only thing that can hold God is himself. There's nothing that can hold God. That's why I can't find anything comparable. There's nothing comparable to him. When you say that he is a light, he is the light. He's not like a torchlight that say, it contains something that'll just bring power if you switch it on. He doesn't need to be switched on. He is on all the time. He is on all the time. He's a light. So the Bible tells us that narrow and straight is the way that leads to heaven. It's not popular. It's not the thing that people want to do, because we got this thing called pain. We got this thing called disappointment. We got this thing called pride. We got this thing called ungodliness. We got this thing called the sinful nature. We got this thing that is always warring against the Spirit of God. It's always warring against the light. It's always warring against the Spirit. The Bible says that the flesh is at enmity with God. The world is at enmity with God. The flesh is always fighting God. The world is always fighting God. And the flesh wants to be with the world. The Spirit wants to be with God. So I heard him say the way, a spirit. He is the Spirit that is constant. Just like the light is constant, he's constant. There is no wrong with you. There's only right. There is no, oops, I made a mistake. There is always intentional. Whenever he allows something to be, it's intentional. It's not like, oops, something's happening. He's always going to get the glory from what he's doing. He's always constant. He is the way. All right. When we examine the way that he is, we see that he's love constantly. He doesn't switch on and switch off like how we switch on and switch off, with feelings. And then we got like anger management. We've got like disappointment feelings. We've got feelings of not really hate, but all kinds of feelings. Okay, we've got all kinds of feelings. You know what kinds of feelings that we have. We've got all kinds of feelings. God is not on feelings. He is a constant. He's a constant and he's always right. He's always, when you say, oh, you think you're always right? Well, he is always right. I don't think he's always right. I know he's always right. He's always before and he's always after us and he's all the way in the middle. He's ever present. He is the way. So the disciples are telling him, he's saying, I'm about to go. Where I go, you can't come yet, but later you'll come. And then he tells them things like, where I am, there you may be also. Where I am, there you may be also. In the way. Where I am. Remember, I am is the way. But he's saying where he is. Where is he? He's on the throne constantly. He's where? He's ever present, meaning that in every situation, every single thing that you have to walk through, Jesus is already there. It don't matter if you now realize that he's there. He's there. He's always there. He's the way. He's there. It's like not a street light. No, not what I wanted to say. It's like if your Father, what are you showing me? He's showing me like a two-way road. And it's either you turn this way or you turn that way. But those kind of like barriers for train tracks and stuff? That's what he showed me. So, if you move it, you could turn the train on the other track. He doesn't exert his majesty on us. He doesn't push himself on us or force us. He gently persuades us to choose him in the way that is safe for us, in the way that is right in his eyes, in the way that is beneficial to us, not just now, but later on, in the way that is loving to us, in the way that is comforting to us, in the way that makes us joyful, in the way that helps us to find him. So he needs us to always choose, if I could say so, always choose, yes, that's a good word, right? To always choose him or to push the train on the tracks. Because he showed me the train on the tracks, okay? So to always choose the right track. That's how we have a mind. We have that thing called freedom of choice. And the Bible tells us that what? All things are permissible. You can do whatever you want. But later on, not all things are beneficial. So Jesus said, where I am, there you may be also. Where the way is, hey, you're already there. So the Bible calls this thing walking by the Spirit. The way is the Spirit. Jesus is a spirit. He is the Spirit of prophecy. The Bible tells us that he's the testimony of the saints. The testimony of Jesus Christ is the spirit of prophecy. So the Bible tells us that he wants us to be where he is. Why? You know, Psalm 91, he who dwells in the secret place of the Most High. The way that's safe? Yes. Why? We have an adversary, the devil. We have an adversary that wants us, where? Lost. Remember that word? Lost. He wants us lost. He wants us wandering like Tarzan in the bushes. He wants us wandering aimlessly. He wants us... Who's this?